I think it's time, if you're ready. We can begin.
Okay, the meeting will please come to order. This is a duly advertised meeting of the Joliet Zoning Board of Appeals. In our capacity, we hear petitions for relief from the strict provisions of our city ordinance. In matters of this type, the decision of this board is final in respect it does not go to the mayor or the city council for any further action. If you disagree with our decision, you do have recourse in a court of record. We also hear petitions for variations of land use. In matters of this type, we act as an advisory committee to the mayor and city council, making a recommendation either for or against it. The final decision on land use is made by the mayor and the city council. Secretary, call the roll.
Ms. Safford?
Here.
Mr. Alessio? Mr. McShane?
Here.
Mr. Noctree?
Here.
Mr. Riggs?
Here.
Ms. Rohr?
Here.
Mr. Hennessy?
Here.
First order of business would be approval of the August 18th minutes.
Motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the motion. Poll the board.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctree?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Ms. Safford?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Abstain.
Next order of business would be citizens to be heard on agenda items. If there's any citizens that would like to be heard on agenda items, they could speak now, but also be aware that we do allow you to speak when the case is called. Are there any citizens that would like to speak on an agenda item now? Seeing none, we can move on to old business for public hearing. Under our public hearings, 2022-47. The Emerald Coast is the petitioner. This is for property owner is GW 2211 Jefferson Street, Joliet. This is for 2211 Jefferson Street for signage for that property. They are asking for this to be tabled. They're working out some other issues on another petition of theirs. So they're just asking for a 30-day tabling to the October 20th meeting, and staff supports that request.
Motion would be in order to table.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion second to table the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. Noctree?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Ms. Safford?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
Under new business, public hearing, petition number 2022-53. The owner applicant is Carolina Francini. This is for 223 North Broadway Street, variations to add an addition to the house. Staff is asking for additional information on this one and worked with the petitioner, and they're also asking for a tabling to the October 20th ZBA meeting. And again, we're in support of that.
Motion be in order.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion second to table this petition. Poll the board.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Ms. Safford?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctree?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
And I also agree to that. Keeps
Oh,
forgetting my name.
I'm sorry.
No
I
one really
apologize.
cares.
I guess.
Next order of business is petition number 2022-54. The petitioner is Verizon Wireless. The property owner is 3064 Plainfield LLC. The location is 3064 Plainfield Road. Request is variation on signage. Under purpose, the petitioner is requesting a variation to increase the total sign area from 83 square feet to 120.78 square feet for Verizon Wireless store. The Zoning Board of Appeals makes a final decision for this variance request. Under site-specific information, the property in question is Zone B2 Central Business District. A new 4-tenant retail building is currently under construction at this location and nearing completion. Pier 1 Imports store formerly occupied this property. Store closed in 2020 and the store was demolished in late 2021. Verizon Wireless seeks to locate into the easternmost tenant space at this new retail building. Retail building has frontage on both Plainfield Road and Colorado Drive. In 1990, the city approved a variance request to allow B3 General Business District signage at this property, as well as signs on the north and south elevations. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, to the north is B3. There's a variety of retail and commercial uses. To the south is B2. That's a surface lot and variety of retail uses. To the east is B2, Raising Cane's Restaurant. To the west is B2, and that's a Burger King restaurant. Under applicable regulations, 47-17.21 signs and 47-17.213 BB, criteria for granting a sign variation, and you could refer to the attachment on that. Under discussion, Verizon Wireless seeks to install 3 wall signs on the building, as well as place a panel on the retail center's existing monument sign. Properties with B3 General Business District zoning are allowed a total sign area of up to 200% of their linear store frontage. The Verizon store, the easternmost tenant space, is 41 feet 6 inches wide, and therefore the tenant space is allowed 83 square feet of signage. Verizon proposes 120.78 square feet of signage, which includes 3 36 square feet wall signs and 1 12.78 panel on the existing monument sign. Sign elevations and sign site plan are attached to this staff report. Under conditions, we have none, and that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner present. Come forward, please. I must swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address, please.
Name is Pete Hatcher. Address is 6487 Hilliard Drive, Columbus, Ohio. I concur with staff's statement on this, and I'll answer any questions you might have.
Any questions by the board?
Yeah, I have a question on the size of the signage. Is this a precedent for the other 3 tenants? Can they then seek similar or larger signs?
It would probably be a question for us. I mean, they
Yeah.
could ask for any signage that they would like, but if it exceeds what they're allowed, then they'd have to come before you.
That's a fair point.
But it doesn't just permit them, because this
I
is.
wondered if Verizon had an opinion on,
Oh, sorry.
No.
okay.
Any other questions by the board? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition, asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Well, could I follow up with that question, Jim, for you folks? This is a significant increase in the size over the city standards, and there will be 3 other tenants. And I just wonder if things are getting out of control potentially in terms of signage.
We don't think so. Like we've stated before, we need to amend our sign code to establish easier to utilize signage. We know we need to do that, and we have plans to do that soon. But that's why you see so many sign variances like this. People want signs on non-road facing fronts, and our current sign code doesn't permit that. So that's the majority of what you're seeing and why they are exceeding their total size, just because they don't have the street frontage like some other users might have. But the individual signs are relatively small. It's the total that is kind of exceeding what would normally be allowed.
Right.
You won't see something irregular once these are on the building.
Motion would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Ms. Sanford?
Yes.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next petition is 2022-55. The applicant is CP Automotive LLC. The status of the applicant is they're the business owner. The owner of the property is Anchor ERP LLC. The location is 227 Airport Drive. Request is a special use permit. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to to allow an automotive service and repair facility located at 227 Airport Drive. Facility is located on a condo unit within the Airport Drive Industrial Condominiums development. For the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, automotive repair facilities may be allowed as special uses by the mayor and city council with the advice of the zoning board of appeals in accordance with section 47.5.2. Under site-specific information, the subject property is located in the Joliet Airport Industrial Park subdivision, which was recorded in 2003 and contains multi-unit industrial condominium buildings. Property is zoned I-1 Light Industrial. CP Automotive occupies Unit 227 in the set of 3 buildings on lots 6 and 7 of the subdivision. Each unit is approximately 1,950 square feet and is individually owned. There are 2 surface parking lots located between the 3 buildings. Each lot contains 44 parking spaces that serve 18 units. Each unit has an overhead garage door and loading space. Under surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the condo unit at 227 Airport Drive is located within a light industrial subdivision that runs along the west side of Airport Drive. Property to the west contains Lightways Hospice and Serious Illness Care, founded as Joliet Area Community Hospice. Hospice property and the industrial subdivision are separated by a berm, landscaping, and screening that were established when the subdivision was developed. To the east of the subdivision is the Joliet Regional Airport property. The zoning land use for the adjacent properties are as follows. To the north is I-1 Light Industrial, Industrial Condos. To the south is I-1 Light Industrial, Industrial Condos. To the east is B3 General Business, Joliet Regional Airport. And to the west is RB Restricted Business, and that's the hospice. Under applicable regulations, section 4714.3D, B3 uses within the I-1 district. Under section 47-13.2AG, special uses, B3 General Business District. Under section 47-5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit, and you could refer to the attachment. Under discussion, the petitioner, CP Automotive LLC, is requesting approval of a special use permit to allow an automotive service and repair facility within an existing industrial park. The business is in Unit 227 of an 18-unit condominium building located in the middle of Joliet Airport Industrial Park subdivision. CP Automotive performs routine automotive maintenance as well as repair, including repair and replacement of engines and transmissions. Company has been in business for around 2 years and currently has 1 employee at this location. Other businesses in the building include various contractor and machine shops. The unit at 227 Airport Drive contains 1 service bay, a car lift, and office space. Up to 4 vehicles can be parked inside the facility overnight as needed. There are also 3 outdoor parking spaces located adjacent to the unit. Vehicles that need to be kept for long periods are stored off-site at a location in Manuka that is owned by the condo unit owner. Business typically works on 2 to 6 jobs per week. Hours of operation are Monday through Saturday from 8 to 7 p.m. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve this special use permit, following conditions would be included. Should the property to be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. And 2, that the city business license shall be obtained. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner here. I'll swear you in. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Name and address, please.
Nathaniel Washburn with KGG LLC, 111 North Ottawa Street in Joliet. I'm the attorney for the applicant. I believe staff did a good job of summarizing the report. The property owner, the condo unit owner, is the father of the business owner. He's been operating for 2 years. This came to our attention because of a business license request by the city. As you probably will ask, why were we operating for 2 years without the appropriate permit? It was a simple misunderstanding based on the fact that there are other automotive-related businesses already operating in the condo, and the father purchased the unit. It's zoned I-1 industrial. Most people would assume that If there's other like uses going on in the same condo complex, it's probably okay to do it. As soon as we became aware that it was any sort of issue, we took proper steps to rectify the situation. To the best of our knowledge, other than the business license application scenario, there have been no complaints with the use that's been going on, and we would ask that the zoning board recommend that the special use permit be approved. And I'm here to answer any other questions you might have.
Any questions by the board?
I have a question about parking. I think there's been an objection raised, and we may hear from someone on that. And I guess the first question is parking, are you aware, is parking a problem here where there are only 3 spaces per unit outside?
I'm not aware that parking is a problem. Again, as far as I'm aware, my client has never been, alleged to have had any parking issues. As far as the condo complex as a whole, again, I'm not aware of any. Nobody's contacted me, and to the best of my knowledge, nobody's contacted my client about a parking problem. As we've stated, anything that's going to be there for any prolonged period of time is taken off-site to Minooka, and we do have the ability to house, if we have a job that's going to take more than a day to finish, it can be 4 vehicles can be housed inside. We're only doing 2 to 6 jobs a week, so again, the likelihood that we're causing any sort of traffic issue is minimal by my understanding, but if there is a direct complaint, it's yet to be brought to my attention, but we'd be happy to speak to somebody if they do have a complaint.
Staff have any record of any?
We do not that I'm aware of.
Nothing on file?
No complaints, just the objection that Bob had brought up.
Do you know if your client will take drop-offs, or does he schedule a car first, or?
Like if somebody's got a tow and they just show up
just
randomly?
Yeah.
I am not aware. I honestly can't answer that. If that's something that, we're interested in, I can definitely get that information and provide it to staff. But to the best of my knowledge, again, the actual business operator, I believe Cameron's 19 or 20 years old. He's just starting out. And so I think he people know him, schedule a job, he takes it in. It's not a quick oil change. It's not like he's just got guys coming in off the street. To the best of my understanding, these are people that know him personally and are asking that he work on their vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes petition to the floor. Ask the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye. Thank you.
Next order of business is 2022-56, petition number. Applicant is ProStar Logistics, Inc. Status of the applicant is the contract purchaser. The owner is Joliet Disposal, Inc. Location is 811 Rowell Avenue. Request is a special use permit. Under purpose, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a truck parking and maintenance facility for ProStar Logistics, and this again is located at 811 Rowell Avenue. Per the City of Joliet ordinance, truck facilities may be allowed as special uses by the mayor and city council with the advice of the Zoning Board of Appeals in accordance with section 47-5.2. Under site-specific information, the subject property is located south of I-80 between Rowell Avenue and the Canadian National Railroad tracks. Property was annexed in 1997 and classified to I-1 light industrial zoning so that Joliet Disposal could develop the site for their business. Joliet Disposal operated at this location until the end of December 2021. The site is currently unoccupied. Site is approximately 4.2 acres and contains an industrial building and an unpaved parking area. There are many established trees located around the perimeter of the site. Surrounding zoning, land use, and character, the property is located in in an industrial section of Rowell Avenue, south of I-80 and north of Mills Road. Across Rowell Avenue to the east are residential properties that are mostly located in unincorporated Will County. Zoning and land use for the adjacent properties are as follows. To the north is City of Joliet, I-1 Light Industrial, and those are commercial businesses. To the south is unincorporated Will County, I-1 Limited Industrial, and those are commercial businesses. To the east are unincorporated Will County, R4 single-family residence, and City of Joliet, R2 single-family residential, and that's also residential uses. To the west is unincorporated Will County, A1 Ag, and that is railroad right-of-way. Under applicable regulations, section 47-14.2AD, special uses and all industrial districts. Section 47-5.2C, and that's criteria for issuance of a special use permit, and you could refer to the attachment. Under discussion, the petitioner, ProStar Logistics, Inc., is requesting a special use permit to allow a truck parking and maintenance facility in an existing industrial site on Rowell Avenue. ProStar Logistics is a third-party freight carrier company that performs over-the-road trucking, meaning the trucks are on the road for days or weeks at a time. The company proposes to use the site for short-term parking of their fleet of around 20 to 30 trucks when they are not dispatched or when they are awaiting maintenance. The company does not use refrigerated trucks that would need to be kept running at the site. Petitioner estimates that there would be fewer than 5 truck trips per day from the site. Petitioner has submitted a conceptual site plan and landscape plan included as an attachment in the staff report packet. The existing building will remain and be used for repair and maintenance of the company's trucks. Site plan shows trucks parking stalls located to the west of and across from the building, and passenger vehicle parking located to the east of the building. Conceptual landscape plan indicates the preservation of many of the existing trees located around the perimeter of the property. A 30-foot landscaped area will be maintained along the east property line by Rowell Avenue. Existing trees provide screening from the residential properties to the east. All public improvements will be required by the Public Works and Public Utilities Departments per the subdivision regulations. The development will need to meet the requirements of the city's zoning ordinance and subregs, which include paving, curbing, and lighting of the parking areas and driveway. Development impact fees will be required. A landscape plan that complies with the city's zoning ordinance must be submitted with future development plans. The proposal is subject to the payment in lieu of taxes, the pilot for truck parking facilities as per the terms of the approved ordinance. Funds collected from the pilot will be used for adjacent city street maintenance. City staff did not require a traffic impact study for this proposal. City staff recommended that the petitioner hold a neighborhood meeting for nearby residents, but a meeting has not been held as of the writing of this staff report. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, the following conditions would be included. One, that the existing trees within the 30-foot landscaped area along the east property line shall be preserved. 2, that a landscape plan that meets city ordinance shall be submitted as part of the building permit plan set. 3, that the parking areas and access drive shall be paved and improved per the requirements of the City of Joliet ordinance. 4, that the truck and trailer parking area shall be required to make a payment in lieu of taxes as per the terms of the ordinance. 5, that the special use granted shall herein terminate and, that the special use granted shall herein terminate and lapse unless a building permit or certificate of occupancy is obtained no later than 180 days. 6, should the property be declared a public nuisance, shall be subject to a rehearing, a possible revocation of the special use permit. And 7, that the business shall be registered with the city clerk's office. And that concludes our staff report. One last thing I would like to mention is that we did have concern that the public notice sign was not super visible. You could see it in the picture there. There was no attempts by the petitioner to, hide the sign. This is as close to the property line as they could get, is what we were told. So, just wanted to indicate it was up in time and, they did the best they could with posting it.
Petitioner here? You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes.
Name and address.
Gary Davidson, Castle Law, 2 North Infantry Drive, Suite 100, Joliet, Illinois. We occupy the building that used to be the old Joliet Catholic Franciscan building that many of you know about. We're pretty proud about the rehab we did on it. If you've been past it, looks a lot nicer, and it's, I think, really jazzed up that corner. I represent the petitioner, ProStar Logistics. We are the contract purchaser of the property. I have the owner here today, who's Gary, who's represented by Doug Heathcock. This used to be the old Joliet disposal site. So many of you might know Gary, and this operated as Joliet Disposal up until about 2 years ago, as Jim mentioned. This is one of those sites in Joliet that as we get new business owners coming in town, we're going to be able to clean this up and bring it up to standard. So right now, there's no impervious surface on the site. The access to and from the site, ingress, egress, is all gravel. That's now going to have to be impervious surface. We're going to comply with the landscaping plan and bring this site up to Joliet standards. One thing that I think is important to note is that what this facility is not. This is not a truck terminal. So this is not something where we're going to store goods. There's going to be trucks coming in and out of there. This is a small trucking company that is an over-the-road trucking company that has 15 to 25 trucks that are out going to California, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Louisiana. So those trucks are out on the road all the time. The only time they're going to be coming back to Joliet is when they need service. So that's why those truck trips are very, very limited on a per-day basis, because the company doesn't make money when the truck's sitting there in a parking lot. So we would anticipate probably anywhere from 0 to the maximum of 5 trucks in and out of there on any given day to have the oil changed, to have their tires changed, whatever the case may be. Building will be brought up to code, any sort of detention issues that need to be addressed. Very pleased that some of the parishioners from the church actually showed up here today, because I had an opportunity to talk to them in the hallway, and we'll be able to address a few things between now and City Council if you see fit to pass this along to the City Council with approval. I think the church, I don't want to speak for them, but they had mentioned making sure there's not trucks lined up on Sunday while they're trying to have church service. We don't want to get ourselves in trouble with God, first of all, and more importantly, we're not really going to be operating on Sundays. Even if we needed to put a restriction on no trucks on Sunday in and out of there, I don't think that would be a problem for the petitioner. Gary, who's operated the business in town for a long time, actually spoke to many of the business owners and neighbors in the area, so we didn't feel that a neighborhood meeting was necessary, because we didn't view this as all that controversial of a subject. So with that, I can answer any questions.
Any questions by the board?
This building was always built as a repair center, wasn't it? Even when
Yes.
Joliet Disposal had it, so the property is basically being used for the same thing since it was built.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only thing that's going to happen is, obviously, it's going to be more intensive than what it was the last 18 months because it's been vacant. But in terms of trucks in and out of there, it's going to be far less intensive because it was operated as a garbage truck facility. So those trucks were in and out of there all the time.
Any other questions by the board? Do you have any trucks coming in all hours of the night or day, or what are the exact hours? Are they open 24 hours if a truck comes in?
I would ask he has limited English, so I'm going to have his realtor ask that question of him. Do you want to come up and get sworn in? I just don't want to misstate that.
You guys swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes.
Names and addresses.
Andre Andronic with Remax at Home, 2212 Daly Lane, Plainfield.
Okay, my question is, the amount of traffic is minimal. I agree with that. It's a lot less than it could have been, especially when the garbage was there. But What hours are you there? I mean, if trucks are coming in off the highway from these various states and everything, do they come in at night sometimes, or? And is there somebody there manning it?
And maybe we ought to, Mr. Chairman, because he's got sworn in, but he really needs to get sworn in because he's going to give the answer.
Well, he'll get sworn at then.
So why don't you tell him that he has to, I don't mean to take over, but tell him he needs to answer the questions truthfully and under penalty of perjury. And
Okay, well, you correct him if he's not telling the truth.
Okay,
Anybody, yeah, I'm not waiting for an answer.
Ed, I think they're asking if you could swear in the actual business owner.
Spanish?
Yeah, no.
Or
in
just
English.
do your normal and they'll interpret.
Oh, I swore you both in at the same time, I thought. Who isn't sworn in, you?
Yeah.
Raise your right hand.
Have him raise his hand.
You swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law.
Yes,
And your name and address.
my name is Mikhail Andreiko. Address is 7804 Moshaver Drive, Joliet, Illinois, 60431.
Okay. Open the, want to answer the question now?
întrebarea a fost dacă...
Eu am înțeles. Nu. De la... Ce să facem?
Basically, I just want to know if it's up, if there's somebody on the location there 24 hours a day, or if someone comes in at night. Do you know when they're going to be arriving?
Dacă și
Okay. So our hours can, I mean, so depends. I mean, so if you guys can allow us, like, we can do exceptions, it's fine. If not, then so we can, I mean, so, because I'm owner of a company, so I can restrict, like, our drivers, or I can do, I mean, so what, if I'm gonna say, like, to all the drivers, you cannot, like, come in, like, at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. or 24 hours. Our hours is like from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. then, so they're gonna do, because it's like, this property will be like only for our company.
This is funny. So they're gonna operate on the regular business hours, either 7 a.m. to 6, 7 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 6, 7 p.m. would be the most suitable for everyone. And what he was trying to say is that he can restrict all the staff, including drivers, not to show up after hours or during the night, so they do not disturb the neighborhood.
Okay,
But
thank you.
On any given day, their work will be done during regular business hours. If that would be needed, he can restrict everyone on, to access the property with.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions by the board?
Gary, what were the hours of operation when it was Joliet Disposal?
I would have to ask Gary that question. What were your hours? So 6 to 6.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor? Is there anyone opposed? Do you have a spokesperson, or do you want to?
No, they can speak individually. Let them speak individually.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law?
Yes.
Your name and address, please.
My name is Betsy Sancher. I live at 610 Florence Avenue, Joliet. And I'm in, as you know, in opposition of this, of this business. And I'm just asking that you please consider the quality of life for the residents that live in this area. They will be negatively impacted forever, I think, by this building. People who worked hard all of their lives, built their houses, have their families there, and I'm sure when they did this, they didn't have any idea that this business would be coming in. They just thought that it would be a nice place for them to live, retire. Their kids come back and visit, their grandkids come and visit. And my question is, how many jobs will this, create for the people in the residents in this area? And we do need businesses that will create jobs for the community. And this business is on the street, Rowell Avenue. There are two churches on this street. There's on Rowell Avenue, and there's a church not far on New Lenox Road. And also there is a school, District 86 has a school that's also located on Rowell Avenue. I just want to share a personal experience that I had. And I don't know if you can back up that picture, with the sign, because it shows more of what, it's where the business is. And I know he said that he put it as close as he could. You can't read that sign unless you get out of your car, or residents that's right there, maybe they could have, but the public couldn't read. It's not readable from the street. Last Wednesday, 1 week ago, I was traveling south on Rowell Avenue. I couldn't, there was a train, I was blocked by the train. So I thought I would go back to my house, not far from, the train track. I'm gonna just go and wait for the train. Went back, waited, I would say maybe 20, 30 minutes. Then when I left, headed south on Rowell Avenue, I get across the tracks, going up the hill on Rowell, I see blinking, flashing lights. And I'm thinking, what is it? What is this all about? What, somebody had an accident? Well, as I got close, I saw these two trucks, flashing lights. Drivers were out of the trucks. These trucks are sitting on the street. The two drivers are out. They're in the middle of the road, conversating with each other. So here I am, needing to go farther south. So I had to cautiously pass the trucks and the drivers. I passed there, go to Mills Road, which is not far away, deliver a package. I didn't go in, I just delivered a package, came right back out, headed north. Well, now there's like 5, 6 trucks, all parked. They weren't moving, they're parked on Rowell Avenue, flashing lights. Anybody going south had to stop and wait for the northbound traffic so they could proceed on Rowell Avenue. I don't know how much of a problem this is going to be, in the future. I don't know. And he did say, the lawyer did say that they didn't feel it was a need, to contact, the people. But my question that I did have was, did anyone, from the city or from, the company, did they do a survey, with people in the area to find out what do they want? Is this something that they would like to have in their neighborhood? How would it benefit them? And I'm just saying, and I'm asking that we consider the residents that live in this area that's worked hard to have houses, raise their families there, and now they will be greatly impacted by this business that will be moving in. So I'm asking for you to, vote no, or to hold your vote until proper survey has been done or whatever, to see how this will impact the life of these residents that live in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Come forward. Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under a penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
Your name and address, please.
My name is Mary White. I live at 112 3rd Avenue in Joliet, Illinois. I come to say no to the special use permit at 811 Rowell Avenue because it will impact the quality of life of the people who live there. Number one, this place that is intended to be for fixing trucks. No one can predict when a truck is going to have an emergency. You're trying to put a cap on it, but this could happen at any time when the trucks would need to come into that place. The standard of the health, comfort, and happiness of the people who live in the community will be negatively impacted because of the pollution that this will cause, and then that pollution will escalate in the summer when it's hotter. Families, because of the area that's already there, people have had to leave because of health risks. I travel to Salem Village Nursing Home on a regular basis to go visit my loved one who has stage 4 cancer. And up there are no streets. I saw a gentleman in his wheelchair. There are no sidewalks. Riding down the street, there are no sidewalks in that area. My question is, where is the love? Where is the love? And I'm not talking about a mushy kind of love. I'm talking about a love that care about the standard of health for all people, people's comfort to live in their homes and in their community without feeling threatened, without feeling insecure, feeling unsafe because of the increased traffic and truck traffic. There are already increased accidents and fatalities going on as it is, and it will increase because you have an area where there's no sidewalks for people to go backwards and forth as they choose for children to ride their bikes and all of this here. But I'm talking about where is the sincere concern for the people who live in the community? Where is that kind of love that care about the life and the health, the comfort, and the happiness of the people? And when people come in, businesses come in and destroy these things, it is very hurtful, very painful to the people. And do the people want it there? I believe that there is always a need to include the people who live in the community on the decision making for whatever kind of business that is going on there. When you don't include the people, this is disrespect to every man, woman, boy, and girl who live in that community. So again, I say no. I say that the impact of the quality of life of the people who live in that community will be to impact it on a negative basis. The things that will help that community: affordable housing, grocery store, and jobs. Thank you.
Anyone else? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Your name and address.
Boise Walker, 626 Mills Road. I am opposing the development for the truck parking as well. My parents live literally right around the corner from that truck parking where they're trying to propose. And my aunt got up and spoke. She was actually traveling to my parents' house when she was encountered by those trucks that were standing or sitting on the road. So Rowell Avenue is a narrow road as it already is, and there are no sidewalks for residents to access. There are children and families who live right across the street from this truck parking facility that is being proposed. Yes, it used to be a dumping facility, but they stated that there would be 20 to 30 trucks parked there coming in 5 times a day, maybe more, maybe less. However, that's still 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 to 30 opportunities for there to be accidents with children who are playing literally right across the street if their ball accidentally run out into the street. So yes, I am here to oppose it because I'm looking at the quality of life for the residents that are not just on Rowell Avenue, but also in the surrounding area. So I ask that you too seriously consider how this will negatively impact the residents that are currently already there. And one thing that was mentioned by the lawyer is that he said the business would be operating Monday through Friday. According to the petition that was submitted, it says Monday through Saturday. So I just want to make sure that information is being shared to the residents. He didn't say it would be operated on Sunday, but Saturday, there are some churches that do operate on Saturday as well. So I'm coming and standing in opposition of this becoming a truck parking facility. Thank you.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth under penalty of law?
Yes, I do.
Your name, please.
My name is Sarah Brynex. I
And your
live
address.
at 500 4th Avenue,
Thank you.
Joliet. I would like to say, as I sit and listen, to the mayor and the council people. I'm listening to you, and I heard the lawyer say about God. God loves people, and he loves all people. So if you build truck stuff on our side of town, build it on your side, in your residence, where seniors live. I'm a senior, and the environment is important to me as it's important to God. So what you take from one will be taken from you. And I want to say, living at 500 4th Avenue, why would I have a deer over on 4th Avenue? There's 2 schools down there, and there's residents, and most of them are seniors. So when they're bringing their trucks and stuff, they're causing animals. Do you have animals in your yard? You talking about God. Read your Bible and see what he say about the poor when you take from the poor. So my prayer is, I'm praying that y'all don't have any kind of peace. And the people that come to and bring their truck, they don't live over there. We don't have stores. We have to come to the west side. No grocery stores, no clothing store, and you talking about trucks. And they drive over people's property and don't care. Yeah, well, I swear it. But I swear I will pray and ask God to convict everyone that sit here in Joliet that don't do right. Read your scripture. If you say you're a Christian, show it. The love of God. I don't care about money. We need it, but it's not to tear up our lives. So today, when you vote aye, remember, your aye is against God because it's against people. He created all of us. So we have a right to work where we live and our children be able to pray and not breathe that air that they're bringing and animals coming in over. So you're tearing up.
Anyone else? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Your name and address.
My name is Cesar Escutia. I live at 1756 Elgin Avenue. I'm a Joliet Township trustee, and I came in order to support these ladies here today because I am also a resident of the East Side, and I feel like many of their concerns are the concerns of people who have been ignored when it comes to the requests of quality of life in their communities. You know, we really don't have a reliable source of fresh produce. We don't have good sidewalks and good communities in order for children to play. We do have a lot of industrial use. And I understand as a city,
we need that in order to increase revenue, in order to create jobs. But this being a former dumping ground and now that backing away, you know, for a lot of residents, it was a relief. It was a relief that they didn't have to hear trucks in the morning. It was a relief that their roads could be preserved more because, as we know, the increased size of a vehicle going across the road, it's going to exponentially damage that road. It was a relief. And now that it's coming back, people are starting to really come to terms with the fact that, you know, where one comes, many more are going to follow. Maybe not on Roll Avenue, but there are going to be more in Ingles Park. There are going to be more over near the racetrack. And it's a precedent that really has done a lot of damage to people. I mean, over at the township at the August meeting, we had residents that were complaining of their yards flooding, sometimes 5 inches of rain. They could not mow it. They could not tend to their soil. They were trying to grow soybeans and corn. And due to the fact that, you know, a lot of these facilities do require just changing the soil that they sit on, it's causing a lot of damage to the environment, you know, past the diesel fumes, which are also an issue. There are just so many untold consequences that these communities have to deal with that I feel aren't properly being accounted for. And that's why I'm standing before you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Do you swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
Your name and address, please.
My address is 811 Greenfield Avenue in Joliet. My name is Patsy Withers. I have lived at that address for 57 years. I have seen, I want to say this, I oppose this trucking business going on in our neighborhood. I raised our 4 children there. They could run and play, but now we have a trucking business on New Lenox Road. We're getting another trucking business on Rowell Avenue. And we have schools there. 3 schools, I know, at least 3 schools. And now I don't even want my grandchildren to go out and play because all of the trucks are in the area already. And so I'm just saying I oppose this trucking company because our neighborhood is changing. And my husband and I have worked hard to keep our yard, our home up, pay our taxes, send our children to school, and now my grandkids can't play like they did before. We have no, what are they, supermarkets there? No recreational areas there, and we just don't need a trucking area in our neighborhood. I oppose it. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? Does the petitioner care to answer any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Quite frankly, I agree with all of the ladies. There does need to be grocery stores and places for commerce on the east side of Joliet. I think the city of Joliet and the economic development group here is making those attempts for that. This particular area has been zoned I-1. The adjacent uses are I-1. In Mr. Torrey's report, he indicated that we're going to be required to put impact fees into the city of Joliet to make the roads better. And that's what these businesses do. They bring in revenue to the city. We have employees that are going to be working there. We can't have sites that were built in 1950 and 1960 that are in disrepair, that aren't being brought up to today's standards by having landscaping, by having impact fees, by having taxes to improve and to bring the community up so that we can begin to bring some of these things that these ladies are looking for and deserve. So I, quite frankly, agree with virtually everything that they're saying regarding what is needed on the east side of Joliet. My law firm, I invested $1.5 million in Joliet. I didn't build my law firm in Oak Brook. I didn't build it in Naperville. I built it in Joliet because I believe in the city of Joliet. So in my mind, this is a very, very low impact use. Its impact is less than the prior use. And quite frankly, under I-1 zoning, there are a myriad of things that could come in without the need for a special use. We're not here for a rezoning change. We're just here for a special use because we need to perform truck maintenance, which under the I-1 zoning district requires. But if we look at all of the potential uses, and I, again, if the board will recommend us to the city council, I'm committed to sitting down with my client and sitting down with these ladies and working a solution with them so that we address as many concerns as they have regarding being able to get to church and that we don't have trucks. A lot of the things that they're talking about, those trucks that they're referring to, they're not our trucks. We're not operating there. That has nothing to do with us. So we're here as good stewards of the community to improve this site, to bring in tax revenue, to pay impact fees to improve the roads. Rowell Avenue is a truck route. It's a designated truck route. You didn't make that a truck route. You shouldn't be convicted for making that a truck route. There's no person on this board that made that I-1 zoning district. That was done in the past. None of those houses were built after these sites were operating as garbage facilities. Those all predated that. So I think we have to start to look through some of the noise and the misinformation. I get it, I understand. Anytime somebody talks about a truck, it's a very emotional thing. Nobody wants trucks. I don't want trucks where I live. They don't want trucks where they live. We don't want trucks in Center Point, North Point, but everybody wants Amazon packages. So as it relates, my final issues, and if the ladies have any questions, anybody, I'm happy to answer them. As it relates to the sign, Helen called me. I put the sign up. I went out there with a sledgehammer and with zip ties and put the sign up. I took the survey out there. The ordinance for the city of Joliet requires that you are not to put the sign in the right-of-way. Based on me as a lawyer, I might have been a foot off, but when I took that survey out there, I put it as close to the property line as I could, in conformance with the ordinance, not in the right-of-way. Unfortunately, we have a culvert there, so, and you don't have sidewalks, so it sits back. But that's where Joliet Disposal's property line is. So it's located in the place that is closest to the property line that I could determine and in conformance with city ordinances. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions?
I have a couple questions. It might be for the previous owner, but I'm curious as to what the difference in traffic, the operations for when it was Joliet Disposal. What was a day in the life of Joliet Disposal when it came to those factors?
I think that Mr. Heacock should probably answer that question.
Afternoon.
You swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and address.
Gary Sloffer, 25405 South Brainerd Road, Elwood, Illinois.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is when it was running as Joliet Disposal, first of all, how long was it Joliet Disposal?
About 30 years.
30 years,
We
so,
stopped operation December 31st of last year.
okay. So during that time, what was the traffic that you brought in and out? You said you were operational from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Right.
At what point were trucks coming in and out? Can you give me an idea
Sure.
of what that operation looked like?
Sure. We had 3 garbage trucks that picked up residential, so they left in the morning, come back in the evening, but we had the roll-offs that drop off dumpsters at different locations. They were in and out maybe every hour, hour and a half, picking up a empty dumpster and going to deliver it somewhere. We started at 6 in the morning and it worked till 6 at night.
Okay.
So probably 8 trucks total at a peak operation.
Okay, that was my only question about that. And then I did have another question, maybe more towards the city about, we keep hearing about sidewalks and safety concerns. And for me, safety concerns are always a big deal. But my question is on the report, it just says to the east of Rowell Road that it's, it just says, Joliet and then unincorporated Will County. Do we have an idea as to, is most of it unincorporated Will County? Is most of it city of Joliet?
Pull up zoning map.
I'm just curious as to, if it is a city of Joliet, at what point are we trying to incentivize or encourage people to get sidewalks? Is that feasible? Or is it mostly unincorporated Will County that it's falling into?
If you look at the map, it's mostly unincorporated Will County. There's one single-family residence in the yellow.
The R2?
Yes.
Okay, that answers my question there.
So that one resident is
In the city.
in the city and everything surrounding it is township.
Unincorporated.
Yeah.
Wow.
They must have wanted water or sewer if it was available to them. I think that's why this property probably came in 1997. They probably needed Joliet water and sewer, so, for us to put a sidewalk in front of these properties that don't connect to anything is not normal. Sometimes we get escrow money to do those larger projects. If they become available, our Public Works Department does that, but
But if we were to have the whole, that whole block of homes that were annexed into the city, then we would be, in some way, shape, or form, encouraging sidewalks or open to the concept of those going in.
yes, it would be more likely and could have been done as a neighborhood improvement project,
Yeah.
for that district.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So council, you are correct that any business that fits that definition for that zoning could go there. Is it any way that the petitioner will consider tabling just to have a meeting with the residents to further, talk about that point and maybe answer some concerns? Because it may be able to resolve himself with a more intimate setting than just right now. Was that something that you would?
We're going to do whatever this recommending body asks us to do. The folks that spoke here today, I don't think would have been subject to notice because we were looking them up. They're anywhere from a half a mile to a mile away based on the address they gave. But that's not to say that we're not concerned about their concerns. What I would ask, because this gentleman over here who operated this business for 30 years, who we're buying this property from, is anxious to have a closing so he can retire, is that this is a recommending body.
Yes.
And we are still have to be approved by the city council. And I can commit to you that we would In fact, I spoke with one of the spokespeople in the hallway. Sundays are a concern for them. That's not part of our petition. We're Monday through Saturday, and I confirm with my client that we're not going to operate on Sunday. So we're committed to addressing as many of their concerns as we possibly can to be good members of the community. My preference, of course, is that we not delay this simply because this is only a recommending body, and I believe that the council will have similar concerns. And if we do not sufficiently address their concerns, I'm quite convinced that based on the energy of the folks who spoke here tonight, they will communicate that to their city council members.
Any other questions, Colette?
Oh, no, thank you.
Any other questions by the board? Chair is going to close the petition to the floor and ask the board for discussion and a motion.
Since this property has always been a trucking outfit, it's hard for me to not allow this to stay, especially since it's less traffic than what it was when it was Joliet Disposal. So I make a recommendation to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Call the board.
Mr. Nactree?
Yes, I would like to second what you just said, which is this area is industrial, and there probably is not a less intrusive plan than the one that you people are suggesting. If we were to turn this down, and if this piece of property stays this zoning, which it will, chances are what you get next is going to be way worse. So I am a personal friend of Betsy Satcher, and I really wish to support her and her neighbors and her friends, but it's not going to get any better than this particular proposal. And if you all stick with them and make sure they do what they said they're going to do, you're going to get the best deal that you possibly can. So I have to say that I approve this.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Ms. Safford?
And so, in my comments before my vote, as I stated again, it is zone industrial, and it is true that any business that meets that definition, that doesn't need any variances or special uses, will be able to lawfully operate. However, given the neighbors' concerns, I am gonna vote no.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
So this will go to city council in October, the second meeting in October, for full approval from the city council, with the zoning board's recommendation of approval. Moving on to the next agenda item, petition number 2022-57. The applicant is Cullinan Joliet LLC. The status of the applicant they are the owners of the property. The location is east of Rock Run Crossings Drive and Gateway Boulevard. Request is a special use permit. Under purpose, the petitioner is requesting a special use permit to allow a multifamily use in a B2 Central Business Zoning District located east of Rock Run Crossings Drive and Gateway Boulevard. City Council makes the final decision on the special use request with the advice of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Under site-specific information, requested special use would occupy a 41.9 acre portion of a larger 309 acre future mixed-use development, which would contain commercial, retail, restaurant, entertainment attractions, and recreational amenities in addition to the proposed multifamily residential component. The proposed build-out over the two lots would create 760 multifamily dwelling units. The petitioner views the multifamily residential component as a critical piece of the intended mixed-use development. The proposed multifamily dwelling units would be located within 36 different buildings located on two separate lots in the northeast portion of the overall Rock Run Crossings development. Elevations of the proposed buildings have been included in the staff report packet. The buildings would be between 2 and 3 stories in height and would contain studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom dwelling units. Each building exterior would be comprised of a mixture of brick and board and batten siding with composition shingles on the rooftops. As proposed, each lot would contain more on-site parking than is required by the city's zoning ordinance. 30-foot wide landscape berm will be located along the west side of the development, east of Rock Run Crossings Drive. 20-foot wide landscape berm will be located along the north side of the property. Section 47-2AA of the city zoning ordinance allows those uses permitted as of right pursuant to section 4791, provided the uses conform to the area bulk and other district regulations in which the uses are typically located. In section 4791A of the zoning ordinance, multifamily dwellings in a planned unit development are allowed, provided that no more than 10 dwelling units per net residential acre shall be permitted. Petitioner is also applying for a preliminary plan unit development plat for the subject property. This petition will be heard by the Plan Commission at the meeting later this afternoon. Petitioner is requesting a waiver from the zoning ordinance maximum allowable density of 10 dwelling units per acre. Staff reports this requested waiver for the following reasons. First, while they incorporated input from the city staff and neighboring residents, proposed multifamily residential development will not be accessed by the existing single-family residential neighborhood to the immediate east. Second, a proposed stormwater detention area along the east side of the multifamily residential area will buffer those uses from the single-family residential neighborhood. Lastly, the requested density of 17 to 18 and a half dwelling units per acre seen as a necessary critical mass to support the other proposed uses within the greater development. Should the board choose to recommend approval of the requested special use permit, it should condition an approval based upon the city's approval of the preliminary plan unit development that would permit the requested variance of allowing more than 10 dwelling units per net residential acre in the subject properties. Under surrounding zoning, land use and character, to the north is County A1 agricultural and natural gas pipeline. To the east is County R2 and R1 single-family residential. To the south is B2 central business undeveloped. To the west is B2 central business undeveloped. Under applicable regulations, section 47-12.2AA, special uses, B2 central business, section 47-9.1A, permitted principal uses, R5 high-density multifamily residential district, and section 47-5.2C, criteria for issuance of a special use permit, and you can see the attached petition. Under discussion, the approval of the requested special use permit would allow multifamily residential development within the subject properties located east of 2 future streets, Rock Run Crossings Drive and Gateway Boulevard. Subject properties are zoned B2 Central Business Zoning District. Staff finds that the petitioner has established with clear and convincing evidence that the criteria outlined in section 47-5.2C of the city code, which covers the conditions that must be present for a special use permit to be issued, will be met with the proposed use and site plan. Proposed multifamily residential use will complement the overall mixed-use development by providing a necessary critical mass to support other proposed uses within the planned development. Sufficient roadway and pedestrian infrastructure will be built to accommodate the needs to the proposed residential build-out population, while also providing an efficient means to link the multifamily residential neighborhood with other planned uses to the south. Access to the site will be consolidated to 3 points in ingress and egress, which will all stem off Rock Run Crossings Drive. There will be no cross-access between the proposed multifamily residential neighborhood and the existing single-family residential neighborhood to the east. Under conditions, if the zoning board desires to approve the special use permit, the following conditions should be included. Should the property be declared a public nuisance, it shall be subject to a rehearing and a possible revocation of the special use permit. And 2, approval of the special use permit shall be contingent upon city council approval of the preliminary plan unit development, which would allow a proposed variance from section 47-91A of the city's zoning ordinance, requiring a maximum density of 10 dwelling units per net residential acre. And that concludes our staff report.
Petitioner? You swear the evidence you're about to present to be the truth under penalty of law.
I do.
Name and address.
Jim Teston, Cullinan Properties Development Manager, 760 Village Center Drive, Burr Ridge. So staff report covers it well. Just to highlight a couple quick components here. We are talking about a 309-acre mixed-use development. There's always that synergy between the residential and commercial. It was always planned to have a residential component, and this has been identified actually through other documents that have been approved through the city, as well as the development agreement, TIF aspects as well. So what we've done here, just to outline, we've identified, working with the residents, the primary concern has been access. That is a township road. We have sat down with the township as well. As you can see, there is no access to Rock Run Drive. In addition to that, that's where we put the detention. We do have a berm with landscaping on that side as well. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions? Is there anybody in the audience wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Chair closes the petition and asks the board for discussion and a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the petition. Poll the board.
Mr. Riggs?
Aye.
Ms. Rohr?
Aye.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Aye.
So that special use permit will go to the second city council meeting in October with the zoning board's recommendation for approval. Under next agenda item, old new business not for final action or recommendation, we have none. Under public comments, this section is for anyone wanting to speak on agenda items. I don't think we have anyone in attendance anymore, so.
Well, maybe Bob Oakland would like to speak.
I don't think so. Under next agenda item is adjournment, if you wish.
Motion would be in order to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. Poll the board.
Mr. McShane?
Aye.
Mr. Noctre?
Aye.
Mr. Riggs?
Have to stay
Ms.
here.
Rohr?
Aye.
Ms. Sanford?
Aye.
Mr. Hennessy?
Hey, aye.
Aye.